Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Thursday, June 26th. Today's moves follow a flat to mixed session on Wall Street yesterday. During regular trading, the Nasdaq was able to eke out a gain of 61 points or 0.31%. The S&P 500 still nearing record territory closed off by a fraction of a point. The Dow gave up 106 points or 0.25%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're trading higher. We're up 0.37%. I mean, that's good. And you look at that, and it's been at this level all morning long. I mean, fact of the matter is, we are seeing some weakness in the dollar. A weak dollar is good for corporate earnings, but it is inflationary, but good for corporate earnings. And now the reason why the dollar is weakening a little bit is because of media reports that President Trump is actively considering naming his pick to succeed Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. And, what he's trying to do is he wants to pick a new Fed chief that's going to be very dovish, one that's going to be pushing out his agenda. Hey, I'm the next Fed chairman. I'm saying lower rates. We need to lower rates by, full percentage point or 2 full percentage points, as Trump is saying. He wants someone incoming to the Fed with that type of, ability to kind of move the needle on where interest rates are going to be prior to becoming a Fed chair. But you remember, the Fed board is 12 members. He's just one vote, but he's got a number of people on the list. To succeed Jerome Powell, and markets don't like this. They don't like the interference of the president. So that's why you're seeing a little weakness in the dollar. President Trump does have a big event going on today. He's got that one big, beautiful bill event. Now, this event is happening at 4 p.m. And the real focus of it is it's designed to put pressure on the GOP holdouts. He wants that bill passed before the 4th of July. So we'll see if anything comes out of that. Over in Europe, there's this EU leader summit going on today. It's covering topics such as Ukraine, the Middle East, Trump tariffs, EU defense and migration policies. On the economic calendar, hey, it's pretty full today. We got weekly jobless claims, we got durable goods orders for May, we got the third estimate for first quarter GDP and pending home sales. What else? Micron's trading higher after a nice earnings beat. And Nike, ticker NKE, they're going to be releasing after the close. Those are all good events. Now we're taking our attention over to Europe, and we're seeing what's happening in Europe. And the DAX is up 97 points for 0.41%. It's trading higher really due to that, NATO decision to set a 5% spending target on its nations, and that's boosting sentiment among, industrial stocks and defense stocks. The FTSE's higher by 33 points or 0.39%. You're seeing mining and metal stocks, with positive action. The CAC in Paris is up 11 points, 0.16%. I mean, with geopolitical risks easing, market attention is really turning back to trade developments, particularly the July 9th deadline that's being set by Trump. Take a look at Asia for a second. We're looking at the Nikkei. The Nikkei had a strong day, up 1.65% or 642 points. Tech stocks really led the way for the Nikkei. Hong Kong, the Hang Seng actually fell 149 points. That's about 0.6%. Declines were kind of broad-based with particular weakness in pharmaceutical sector. China, the Shanghai, it fell 0.22%. Market there was cautionary. Traders are assessing economic uncertainties and, the macro environment. I mean, it wasn't really active session, but it did finish a little lower. Turn our attention over to oil, and oil is showing gains this morning. Oil prices are positive by about the, WTI $65.22, up 0.46%. Brent is at $67.93, up 0.37%. Remember that EIA, the stockpile data came out yesterday. It showed a decline of 5.8 million barrels. That decline in stockpiles is positive and a bullish factor for oil prices. So yeah, we're after Monday and Tuesday losses. I'm not surprised because we got oil prices got smoked 13% those 2 days. So a little rebound is helpful. But that's what I have for in terms of morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, you did mention that we're heavy on the economic calendar today. We will get to all of those events. You pointed to some, including reports, and then some Fed speak to follow along with. But before we get there, you did mention Micron when it comes to earnings. There's a couple of other earnings to note. So let's start there, Bill. Give us a rundown of what's going on in terms of earnings action.
Sure. Well, we've got to start off with Jeffries. I mean, they missed by 4 cents, but it was done on higher revenue. So that's kind of positive. And then you look at Micron. Listen, Micron delivered a beat of 30 cents. They did it on higher revenue. You look at that stock, it's trading up 2.26% this morning. Wow. And then after the bell today, you get Nike, ticker NKE. Their EPS is 11 cents. Expected move is 8.14% when they released. Elevated put volume, got to warn you. Elevated put volume in Nike yesterday. Got to see if that continues. But Nike is a Dow stock and will be releasing after the bell today, Emily.
And Bill, I will point out that Jeffries was your pick of the day yesterday. By the end of the show, we're going to see if you were able to get a win with that one. So stick with us through the end of the show. Now to the economic events of the day, a host of reports and a whole bunch of Fed speak. So Bill, give us a look at everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
Okay, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, we got durable goods orders. Also, the international trade in goods and services. You get that GDP number that I was talking about, and the weekly jobless claim figures are coming out. Then at 10 o'clock a.m., you get pending home sales. In terms of Fed speak, you got Richmond Fed Bank President Thomas Parkin. He's speaking at 8:45 a.m. At 9 a.m., you can hear from Cleveland Fed Bank President Beth Hammack. At 1:15, you're going to hear from Fed Governor Michael Barr. And then at 7 p.m. tonight, Minneapolis Fed Bank President Neil Kashkari will be speaking. So, yeah, it is an active day in terms of the markets for, both economic reports and Fed speak today, Emily.
And that's not the only thing that is active today. You're following those reports, both the earnings reports, the economic reports, and the Fed speaks, all using your NewsWare. You have alerts for all of those things, but you also have alerts for other types of data, news, and information. You're looking at different sectors and segments. You're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, catalyst calls. You're looking at your stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see as possibly moving the markets today?
Well, I'm just doing a quick data check. I'm showing, 3 Dow stocks lower. I'm showing 2 unchanged. I mean, that which means 25 or higher. And then I look at my bank stocks, seeing a little weakness in Apple, but everything else is showing nice gains. So, that looks like another positive open this morning for the markets. You look at some of the news behind the tape, like Apple, major broker came out, they lowered their price target on the stock this morning. That's what's causing a little bit of weakness there. In terms of Google, I mean, Google and Tesla both have robo taxis, but and Tesla just announced that did that robo taxi event in Austin, Texas over the weekend, but they were hand-picked rides. They were they were designed to be successful. And then you look at what Waymo's doing, which is owned by Google over in Atlanta. That's a real test, and that's going much better. So there is a huge moat between the technology that's being used by Google as compared to the technology that's being used by Tesla. And, for all intents and purposes, let's face it, Google is a tech, company. And, Tesla is not. I mean, you can talk about some of the tech, they're trying to get into it, but they don't have the advantages that Google has. So yeah, keep an eye on Google's Waymo. That's going to be spun off, and that's going to be a benefit for shareholders. Meta, a U.S. judge ruled that Meta's use of books to train AI was protected by fair use. That's positive for the stock. You look at Meta, it's up 0.8, so 1% this morning. In terms of Dow Jones 30 stocks, Apple, EU regulators' decision over fines on Apple's App Store is likely to be announced today. There is a deadline. That could happen today. NVIDIA, ticker NVDA. Listen, NVIDIA is up 1.71%. It's leading the Dow higher. I mean, and it's really trading higher due to the positive earnings announcement from Micron. In terms of merger news, Shell denies that it's takeover talks with BP. terms of guidance news, we got Miller Knoll, which is MLKN. They see Q1 EPS coming 32 cents to 38 cents, Street estimates 35 cents. In the middle, fair. Micron MU sees Q4 EPS coming in at $2.50 plus or minus 15 cents. Street estimates 203. Wow, that's an uptick. No, any way you look at it. In terms of shareholders meetings, KR, Kroger, Kilo, Richard, they're having a shareholders meeting today at 11 a.m. And Dell Technologies, ticker DELL, David, Edward, Larry, they're having a shareholders meeting today at 1 p.m. In terms of catalyst calls, SRRK, Sam, Richard, Kilo. JP Morgan adds Scholar Rock to its focus list. This is a positive catalyst watch list. And that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional NewsWire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
I'm going to go with CoreWeave, CRWV. That's Charlie, Richard, William, Victor. Listen, it got smoked yesterday, but tech is rallying. This is one of the tech darlings out there right now. AI infrastructure play. If I can, I think it has the ability. I think it has the ability to really regain some of the momentum that it lost yesterday. Major brokers like the stock, and you look at yesterday's call volume, 194K on the call side to 79K on the put side. That's an indication of a good move. And listen, I'm trying to get in 163 area. I'll say 163. 70 is kind of my entry point. But I might have to go a little higher on that. Up to 164.25, somewhere around there. But I do like CoreWeave, CRWV as my pick of the day. Charlie, Richard, William, Victor, Emily.
CoreWeave it is today on Tech Play. We will follow that one along with you, and coming up we will do the recap on yesterday's pick of the day, as I promised, so stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
I mean, Shell is said to be in early talks to acquire rival BP, but Shell says that they're not talking, so this is kind of confusing commentary that's out there. FIS expands its partnership with Visa. Podcast One launches crypto podcast network. Viking Holdings, ticker VIK, takes delivery of its newest ocean ship. PayPal, PYPL, announces multi-year agreements with Big 10 and Big 12 conferences. Insight, INCY, the CEO is going to retire. They already named his successor. Let's see what else we got. FUN, Six Flags shareholder elects 4 independent directors to its board. ONC, Oscar, Nancy, Charlie. This could be something. They're going to be showcasing their oncology pipeline at their Investors Day today, at their Research and Development Day today. It starts at 8:30 a.m. RAL is going to be added to the S&P 600 on July 1st. But the thing hasn't even started trading yet. I don't think it's going to start trading until June 30th. So the next day it gets added to the S&P Small Cap 600 index. Well, candy maker Mars takeover Pringles maker Kellanova was cleared by U.S. antitrust regulators yesterday. EU counterparts still have an ongoing investigation into the deal. Meta poaches 3 OpenAI researchers, according to media reports. General Motors is recalling 62,000 vehicles over brake pressure sensor. That's all I'm seeing this morning.
Okay, Bill, before we get to trading on this Thursday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day. We mentioned it earlier in the show, was Jefferies. You did give us a preview of their earnings. I'll dig in a little bit more here. They did release an EPS, a Q2 EPS of 40 cents. That was anywhere from 2 cents to 4 cents worse than the analyst estimates that were out there. Revenue for the quarter came in at $1.63 billion. That was ahead of estimates of $1.56 billion. I did catch an article that the Q2 earnings seem to show signs that investors are regaining confidence in the bank, which is positive. Bill, was your call positive? How did it work out?
It did work out. I mean, you look at the numbers. I mean, stock opened up at $55.89. It hit a high of $56.21, and it did hit a low of $55. But, I had a price target of 54 on there. And that was really the key because if you followed that price target, I mean, you more than made the 1% because the fact of the matter is, with a $54 price target, right now the stock's trading 54.80, so that beats the 1%. But last night after the close, it traded down to $53.95, which broke my $54 entry price, and then it bounced back up to $55.54. So $1.50 higher, which is better than the 1% that we were gaining for. So that $54 entry price was the key there. So yeah, Jeffries did work out in that vein. So I'm happy about that, Emily.
Definitely a check in the win column there with that one. Being specific about that entry price helped make a win, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's core wheat pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow to end your trading week with NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.